Hi everyone, this is Anna from Akashic Awakening. I wanted to get into the topic today of psychic abilities and demystifying the idea of psychic abilities so that we can cultivate our own gifts and awareness of them. A lot of us have very lofty or unrealistic ideas of psychics and what it means to be a psychic, because a lot of us have seen psychics or mediums on TV or on YouTube, and they have just extraordinary gifts, and the information they can pull out is just beyond this world. And so you start to develop this idea that you have to be on that level of psychic awareness or psychic ability in order to be considered a psychic. And it's really not true. We all have psychic abilities, just at different levels and developed in different areas. And it's all based on our life purpose and who we're meant to be in this lifetime. For those psychic mediums with the very strong gifts, that's their life purpose, and you can see them living it. You know what I'm saying? You're seeing them on TV or on YouTube living their purpose as a psychic medium, helping heal people, heal their traumas, get the answers they need. That's their life purpose, and that's why their abilities are so strong. But you are here for your own reason. You might be here to be a healer, or to be a counselor, or to be a teacher. And so you wouldn't necessarily come in with extremely strong psychic mediumship gifts if you're meant to be a teacher, because it would just be distracting or take away from your ability to flow in the current moment. Like as a teacher, your psychic ability might be more in the alignment of being a channeler and creating a space beyond yourself for wisdom to come through and flow to others. Or as a healer, your gifts might be more in the range of energy healing, like Reiki, for example. And for counseling, maybe you can feel clairsentience, you can feel what other people are feeling, like an empath, for example. And as an empath, you can feel what they're feeling and help them work through it. So the types of gifts we develop are completely determined on what's going to help us most with our life purpose in this path. Because too strong in one direction could be a distraction, and too little could be a deficit. So it's based on exactly as it needs to be. And once you understand that we all have psychic abilities and they all come in all different shapes and sizes, we can start to release the attachment with judgment, like, oh, I'm not good enough to be a psychic, or I'm not as strong of a psychic as she is, so I'll never be good enough. Start to release those judgments and those assessments, and start to create space for the actual truth of who you are to come through. So today I'm going to be referencing my book, Chakras 101. And I'm going to be reading through some of the psychic abilities that I list in this book, and we'll go through them one at a time and explain them and demystify them. So the first one is clairvoyance, clear vision, insight via visions and images. This is the most popular gift that most people know about. It's often portrayed in TV, like that's her even when she freezes and images start to come across her mind's eye. For some people it is that strong. Sometimes you will start to see things in your physical, overlaid over your physical reality, like you might see a light or a sparkle or a shadow, or you might see a color, or you might see a spirit guide standing next to someone. But there is also the internal vision or internal images that come through as well, and I've noticed that's the most primary way that people receive clairvoyant information is through mental images. And so because of that, people have this idea that it's just their thoughts, and they are completely overlooking the fact that they are receiving psychic insight for the question they just asked. So, for example, you might just see an image play out in your own mind, like anything else. Like if you're envisioning something or doing a visualization meditation, the psychic images come through the same exact way. Just an image or a scenario in your mind. Vivid or not vivid, it doesn't really matter, because it's different for different people. But it's just receiving psychic information through a internal mental image or an external image overlaid over your reality. Claircognizance, clear knowing, insight via thoughts. So claircognizance or clear knowing is when you know the answer. So for example, you ask a question like, what is my life purpose? And you get this clear knowing, like you already know the answer, even though no one's had to say it to you, you didn't hear it, you didn't see it, you just know, I'm meant to do this. Or a lot of times this will come out with other people, like if people often come to you for advice or for guidance, I notice that claircognizance is the primary gift for that blueprint of person. Because if people come to you for answers and with their questions, and you have answers for them, even if you've never been through what they're experiencing, or they ask you a question, you can come up with an answer for it, even though it's a subject you've never studied before, that's claircognizance, that's clear knowing. Because you already have the answer. You didn't have to hear it and then, reiterate it. You didn't see it and then verbalize it. You just know it and you speak it. And that's often associated with the gift of channeling as well, is because you're opening yourself up to wisdom beyond this realm to be voiced through you, essentially, or to be known through you, even if you're just keeping it for yourself and not speaking it externally to others. Clairsentience, or clear feeling, insight through feelings. So this is often in line with empaths and empathic abilities. So externally is the idea of the empath, internally is clairsentience. So externally, empath would be tuning into what another person is feeling. Like you can tell, they say they're okay and they're smiling, but you can tell something's bothering them. Or you're in a public space and maybe you can become overwhelmed by everyone else's emotions that you're feeling. Well, clairsentience is your own internal feeling and using that as a radar for intuiting information. So if you are asking for an answer, like how is this situation going to turn out for me? And maybe you don't see anything, you don't hear anything, but you receive this very calm feeling across your whole body, this like reassuring feeling, like everything's going to work out and this is how I'm going to feel when it's all over and all said and done. That's clairsentience. It's a knowing, a clear knowing through feeling. And it could also be certain sensations. It doesn't always have to be just emotional feeling. You might get like a sort of physical sensation, like a pain in a certain part of your body. And that can also be a gift with empathy, is feeling where someone has something going on in their body, like feeling someone else's physical pain, feeling someone else's emotions, so on and so forth. It comes through feeling. So it's often associated with the body and bodily sensations. Clairaudience is another one. So it's known as clear hearing. So some people will hear their ears ringing, or they might hear a voice. And I kind of associate that with clear knowing a little bit. They overlap a little bit, right? But if you are asking a question and you create the space and you will start to hear a voice, and often like 9 out of 10 times, 9.9 out of 10 times, it's just going to sound like your own inner voice. You're not going to hear a man's voice echoing through your ear or a lady whispering into your ear. Oftentimes it's just going to come across as your own inner voice answering your question in a very calm, clear, and flowing manner. And so it might, come with an ear ringing and then the answer follows, or just the ear ringing and that's just an assurance that someone's with you and that they're watching over you and they're guiding you. Or you might receive thoughts and answers through your own inner thoughts. But it's you start to develop your intuition. I just did another video about, which I will link on this one, about how to differentiate intuition versus ego and know what's actually coming through as psychic information rather than just your own thoughts. So I'll link that at the end of this video. But yeah, clairaudience, receiving psychic information through hearing. Divination, insight using tools or practice. So for example, that would be using tarot cards, or using a scrying ball, or looking into a flame, a scrying mirror, crystal ball, not a scrying ball, scrying with a crystal ball, scrying with a bowl of water, scrying with a flame. It's when you are using an external tool to receive information. So for tarot cards, obviously the cards have their own meanings. So you're just becoming a channel for the information and the wisdom to come through the cards. But you'll learn and you'll start to witness that as you use tarot, you're receiving information that goes beyond just the cards and what the cards are saying. You'll start to put 2 and 2 together. And scrying is the same thing. The crystal ball isn't speaking to you, or the crystal ball itself isn't, a portal that's channeling your highest self's wisdom through it. You're just creating the space and the energy and the focus through a physical practice to allow your psychic abilities to come through. So divination is a very good place to start when you're working with your psychic abilities, because you can start to build a relationship with them. And sometimes when it's all mental, like you're trying to build this topic and it's all within your mind, like you're just laying there and you're like, am I more psychic now? It can help to have a physical practice and physical tools that you're working with to start to build this idea of psychic abilities playing out in your life, and that they can look like more than just one way. It's not all cookie cutter. Aura reading the energy around a person. So this could also fall under clairvoyance, but the thing is, some people see auras and nothing else. Some people see everything else and not auras. So it just depends. But I did put aura reading in here. Sometimes people can see the colors that are in your aura, the energy in your energy body and grid, what's needing help, what's at a deficit, so on and so forth, what's very strong, what primary colors are coming through. So aura reading is a gift, and it can come through just on itself without the other, clairvoyant gifts. That's why I listed it separately. Astral projection, out of body experiences. So not everyone would think of this as a psychic ability, but I definitely do see it as a psychic ability, because through the astral experience, you can do more than just, go see your favorite mountain or lake. From this place, you can talk to your spirit guides, you can open yourself up to spiritual practices in the spiritual realm, you can open yourself up to receiving spiritual wisdom through these practices, and you're working on a soul level. So I do consider astral projection to be in the realm of psychic abilities. And on that topic, lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming fits into that puzzle piece as well. Channeling and mediumship, communication with spirits. So these two, sometimes they're one and the same, sometimes they're different. Because channeling, oftentimes, how it's portrayed is someone who's fully channeling, like they're fully embodying another spirit. Like Lee Harris and the Z's or Balthazar. They're fully embodying another spirit and they're speaking through their body. So that's why I kind of lumped it in with the mediumships category in this one, because they're embodying and they're speaking the wisdom of another spirit beyond themselves. But mediumship is also a psychic ability, obviously. So mediumship can come in all forms, shapes, and sizes as well. So it's not just clairvoyant mediumship. It's not always just seeing ghosts, like seeing this person and seeing what they look like. Sometimes you know what they look like. Sometimes you can hear and receive information on what they're saying. Sometimes you can get feelings on how they felt, or maybe like a physical sensation in their body, like a pain in the head. Maybe that's how they died, so on and so forth. So mediumship is the same thing, where you are working with spirits beyond this realm, often the deceased, but it could go beyond the human deceased to spirit guides, ancestors from other planets, so on and so forth, angels, etc. So mediumship is a psychic ability that can come through with any of the other gifts I mentioned so far as the facet for doing so. Precognition, insight into future events. So that could be through dreams, that could just be through meditation, like, oh, I have a feeling that this is going to happen, or you might see it happen, or you might hear that something's going to happen. So it's just, you might dream about it happening, you might have dreams that come true later on. Deja vu also kind of falls into the realm of precognition and precognitive abilities. And the last one is energy healing, or Reiki. Just a different type of energy healing abilities. So oftentimes those will pair with empathy, for example. But energy healing is the ability to channel higher healing abilities through your body, to channel into another person's body, to create a healing effect on them. And oftentimes those will partner with other gifts that I already mentioned, like empathy, for example, or maybe they are a clairvoyant healer and they can physically see, the medical anatomy of their body and see what parts are needing of healing and see what's off essentially in their body. And maybe they can heal it, or maybe they can send them to a doctor. So yeah, those are the psychic abilities. They're a lot easier than you would think they would be to understand, to receive, and to work with. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment and I can do a follow-up video on any of the topics. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching and I hope you have a great day. Bye bye!